Hello guys, welcome to this session. Today I'll be talking on the subject Flask. So what is Flask? Flask is basically a simple web framework, and so this is the official logo of Flask. It goes by the tagline web development one drop at a time. So what is Flask? So Flask is basically a web framework which is written in Python, and it is easy to use, and it helps in building web applications. So why Flask? Okay, from a beginner's point of view, I have listed some points. So it's easy to set up, it's supported by an active community, it's well documented, it's very simple and minimalistic, and it is very lightweight when compared to other frameworks such as Django. Flask is very lightweight, and at the same time it is highly flexible. There is no strings attached. You can do whatever you want, and you're not restricted by any blocker or something like that. Yeah, by blocker, what I mean is that, for example, let's compare to Django. Django comes with a lot of inbuilt stuff such as an ORM and stuff like that. But with Flask, you have the flexibility in deciding what ORM or whatever you want to do. Like, it's highly flexible, and the whole control is with you. Now coming to the dependencies, Flask is a package. So as a package, it has dependency on other packages. As you can see on the left side, Click, It's Dangerous, Jinja2, Webzerk, and Markup Safe are the dependencies of Flask. So a description of them is given on the right side. So It's Dangerous is a package which is used for providing security for Flask applications. And then Jinja2 is a powerful template engine. For example, Django has an inbuilt template engine. Jinja2 is an template engine similar to the Django engine. And then Markup Safe is an HTML string handling library, and Webzerk is a utility library for WSGI. So WSGI means Web Server Gateway Interface. That basically means it handles the requests from the web client to the web servers. Yeah, so coming to the directory structure, for Flask, as I said, it's highly flexible, so there's no specific directory structure as such. So you can follow whatever structure you want, but however, there are some conventions which are followed, and these are the few of the common directories. For example, you'll be having a project folder, and inside that, you'll be having an /app folder, and we'll be putting all our working code and views and stuff like that in the app folder. Then there are templates where our HTML files will go, and then there are some static files such as images or CSS or JavaScript files which you will put in the static folder. Yeah, so the next thing is Django versus Flask. So as you all know, Django and Flask are the two very popular Python based web frameworks which are being used. So both of them have their pros and their cons. So the pros about Django is that it comes with a huge number of built-in solutions. It comes with batteries included. It already has a lot of inbuilt stuff, and you can just use it to build your project. Whereas Flask is bare, so it's like bare bones structure, but there are lots of packages available. So according to your requirements, you can select what you want, and it'll be all. But for Django, since it already has a lot of inbuilt things, it'll be more heavier when compared to Flask. So a general verdict is that Django is a toolbox and Flask is a hammer. Yeah, so now this is a comparison between Django and Flask, and as you can see, Django is fully loaded. It has an admin panel, ORM, DB interface, and a directory structure, and Django came first. It was released around 2003-2005, I think, and then it already has a built-in template engine, and there are, as I said earlier, it has a lot of inbuilt stuff, so you don't need to use any third-party tools or libraries. Whereas Flask, on the other hand, is light, simple, and flexible, and you can do it's highly customizable. So you can select whatever packages you want, and whatever you want to do with Flask, it's in your hands. And the biggest advantage of Flask is that it is very beginner friendly, and like you can use Flask in no time as compared to Django, which is a little more complex and complicated. And here at the bottom, I have given a link to a very detailed comparison between Django and Flask. You can refer that if you are interested. Yeah, so this is a GitHub statistics from September 25th, 2019. So Django was launched first in 2005 and Flask was launched in 2010. As you can see, the number of contributors for Django is significantly higher, but the number of users are a little more higher for Flask thanks to its beginner-friendly nature. And yeah, that's about it. These are the statistics from of Django versus Flask. So now here is a list of companies which use Flask. You can see some big names in here such as Red Hat, Airbnb, Netflix, Uber, Samsung and all. So these companies do not entirely use Flask, but Flask is present in their tech stack. Yeah, so as I said earlier, Flask is pretty bare-bone, but still it has got a lot of extensions are available for all the popular functionalities. So I have listed some popular extensions over here for some functionalities. So Flask RESTful is a library which helps in creating REST APIs. It's very useful for creating APIs. Then there's a Flask admin that provides an administrative interface for the Flask, just like a Django admin. It's similar to Django admin. Then there's a Flask login component which allows you to have user login and user session managements. Then Flask user is yet another module which is similar to login, but in the case of Flask user, you can have different types of users. For example, there can be an admin user, there can be a regular user, there can be a premium user, like that. And then Flask HTTP auth is used for providing basic authentication for Flask roles. Then there is Flask SQL Alchemy. So SQL Alchemy is basically a ORM for Flask. So ORM means that you just need to code the DB part in Python, and the ORM will convert it to SQL. And then Flask Migrate is for, as you know, similar to Django, it's used for converting the DB migrations, the migrations to the database. Then Flask WTF is actually an extension of WT forms. So WT forms are flexible form validation and rendering. It has some protection of its own such as CSRF, file upload and reCAPTCHA integration. Then Flask Mail is a simple utility which allows you to send SMTP mail from your Flask application, for example, like a sign up mail or an alert mail. Then Flask CORS is an extension which is used for handling CORS, that means cross-origin resource sharing. Like for example, you're doing your front end in Angular, so you need to access the APIs from Angular. You need CORS to make it accessible. Then Flask S3, you might have some assets or folders or anything, or some data in Amazon S3 buckets, and using Flask S3 you can fetch or interact with them. And then Automatic is a extension which helps you to do social login, for example, like Facebook, GitHub. Basically it's used for social logins. And then these are just the popular extensions. I have a very small list of popular extensions I have listed here. And in the bottom link, I have given a link to the official repository where you can have all the extensions of Flask. And on the right side, there's a GitHub curated repo, which also contains a list of very popular and useful extensions. Okay, so now this is actually the beauty of Flask. To get a Hello World app, you just barely need 7 lines of code. As you can see, it's very simple. You type this 7 lines of code and you have your Flask server up and running. It's very basic, but still you have to appreciate the simplicity, just 7 lines of code. It's counterpart Django for a Hello World. I think you will have to spend a lot more time in setting up that and making this Hello World application run. So I'll show you some hands-on coding of the Flask application. Okay, as you can see, I have a folder here, and in these 2 folders I have some code here. So let's first proceed to the installation. Before that, let's create a virtual env. And so the command to install Flask is very simple, pip install Flask. And let's now have a look at the packages. As you can see, the packages I told earlier have now been installed, and now let's cd into folder 1. And yeah, okay, so now I should be showing you the code. As you can see, just very little lines of code here. As you can see, first I imported Flask, then I initialized the Flask app, and then here this is similar to the urls.py file in Django. So here you just define a function and return hello world, and above that I'll be giving the URL, like which URL I hit, this should be shown. So for the main URL I'm giving this function to be shown, and to run it we'll be typing, there are two ways to run this actually. You can type python app.py or Flask run. So I'll go ahead with Flask run, and it's running. Yeah, and as you can see on port 5000 we have the hello world, and so that is it. It's as simple as this. The hello world application is there. Now I'll show you another piece of code just to show you the template, how the template engineering works. Very bare bone and very simple. So on the main root page we still have the hello world, and I have defined another root. As you can see, it's very similar to Django. So after /index, any name I give will be received by the function, and then we'll be rendering the template, and I'll be passing this variable to the Jinja 2 template engine. So we can have a look at that. So I take the terminal cd. Yeah, so this time I'll do python app.py. So when you do python app.py, it'll come in debug mode on. So I refresh this, there's hello world, and now I type /index/hello, and as you can see, hello is received over here. Suppose I give this hey. See, as you can see, this is how the dynamic engine works. It's very similar to Django, but a lot more simple. Yeah, so that was my hands-on demo of Flask coding. So that's about it. It's a very brief session and basically an introduction to how Flask works and about the features of Flask. And so that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.